Abigail is the new film from company Radio Silence, the same people behind Scream 5 and 6, and the highly underrated Ready or Not. And in this film we follow a group of would-be criminals who kidnap a 12-year-old girl who is the daughter of a powerful underworld figure. Holding her for ransom in an isolated mansion, their plan starts to unravel when they discover their young captive is actually a bloodthirsty vampire. That's all I'm gonna say without spoiling anything. Radio Silence has done it again. To put a little context in your mind before we really get into this review, I was so excited for this movie when it got announced. I love Radio Silence. They've made some really, really good movies that I've watched many, many times. Like Scream 5 and Scream 6, I think everyone knows my opinion on those movies. I really like them. And then Ready or Not, which is a really, really great, underrated, sort of dark humor sort of movie that I really, really enjoy. Like, I love that movie. And just a little side note, they're making a sequel, so go watch that movie because it's honestly great. But hearing that they were making a movie like this, a movie about a bunch of criminals kidnapping this little girl who turns out to be a vampire. Like, the premise of this movie really, really intrigued me. I really liked the idea of this movie. It felt very different, it felt very unique, and we get another vampire movie, which I don't think we get enough of. But this movie really gave me hope that maybe this movie could be something unique and something different with that Radio Silence flair, and I'm 100% glad to say this movie delivers. Radio Silence cooked with this movie. It went so goddamn hard the entire time, and I am so happy to say that. This movie is honestly one of the best times I've had at the theater all year, and I'm not saying that from a point of view as it's so cheesy and it's so bad, but it was so funny. No, this movie was just unironically a great time. Like a really well-made movie that knew what it was and just did everything right that it was trying to do. I loved this movie. And the first thing I really want to talk about in terms of the thing I really liked about this movie was obviously its comedy. This movie is very much set up to be a dark comedy sort of movie, and I think they deliver on every front. I thought this movie was hilarious, and I know that's going to be very subjective from person to person, but putting it from my point of view, I just loved what they did here. It's not like super cheesy to a point where it kind of comes off as stupid. Like, there are a couple moments that are supposed to be kind of silly and sort of goofy. Like, there's a part where Abigail is literally dancing with, like, a headless corpse, and it's twistedly funny. Like, don't get me wrong, it's pretty damn funny, but it is pretty silly. Like, let's be honest here, it's a pretty goofy sequence, but I really think it did it well, and a lot of the comedy is the exact same in this movie. It's all just really, really good and very charming and very, very funny. I will say though, I think my favorite character in terms of like the comedic side of this movie was definitely Kevin Durant. I think he was honestly kind of hysterical in this movie. Like, he was supposed to be this big, tough bodyguard guy, and he wasn't supposed to be like the brightest guy ever, so I guess you call that a stereotype, but he played it so well. Like, it was so funny in this movie. Like, there's a part where he's trying to like break down a door, and you see one of our characters like literally just like do everything in his power to break it, and he's like, stand back, I'm gonna break down the door, and he like runs at it full speed and it doesn't do anything, and he turns around and goes, I think it's locked. It's like, no shit, it's locked. It's just like little moments like that that had me dying throughout the entire friggin' movie. I enjoyed myself so much. Another thing that really helped this movie to make it super enjoyable was the cast in this movie. I really enjoyed this ensemble of characters that we have in this movie. They're all really, really fun characters and very memorable as well, because they're all pretty funny. They're all pretty likable in their own different ways, and they're all very mysterious. And I really liked their backstories of where they came from and how the movie set up the characters to be. And it actually is kind of impressive because, you know, these characters aren't necessarily like the best people ever, you know? They are anti-heroes, they're crooks, they're criminals, but in this movie, how they frame it, I thought they did a great job to make the characters actually likable and actually make you want to root for them the whole movie. But I think the real star of the show here was obviously Melissa Barrera. She's been in other things I've talked about on the channel before, like the Scream franchise, and I think here she does an amazing job. She's a really talented actor that I don't think gets enough credit, and after this movie, I can really see her getting more roles in Hollywood, because she's really good in this movie. She offers some heart to the movie and some groundedness, and I thought it was honestly really appreciated in this movie. And Alicia Ware, who plays Abigail in this movie, I also think is fantastic. She is a more goofy character, and it is a kid actor, so you have to take that what you will, but I think she chews up all the scenery in this movie. She does a fantastic job. She goes for it, and I really can't help but appreciate that. She did such a good job in this movie of just being this insanely over-the-top kid ballerina vampire that was just so much fun to watch. Like, she was great in the movie. This movie also also has some really, really good kills and very gory moments. Like, I was honestly kind of shocked how much gore was in this movie and how bloody it got, especially closer to the end of the movie. It really surprised me, but a good thing about it is that it actually looked pretty damn good. Like, there's a lot of it and it looks very convincing. There's a lot of scenes where people are losing their heads, they're losing their hands, they're getting bit in the neck and crap. Honestly, everything about it looked really, really good from a practical point of view, and I actually really like the set design in this movie as well, which is really impressive because the only place we go to in this movie is just different rooms in this huge mansion that our characters are stuck in, and I thought they did a fantastic job of making every room feel distinct. Surprisingly enough also, I thought this movie was actually kind of creepy as well. Like, I wasn't expecting it just because this was supposed to be a comedy most part, but this movie actually is kind of creepy. Like, there are actually a lot of really good sequences where our characters are going through hallways or they're dealing with a really, like, kind of frightening situation, and you feel the suspense and the tension with all the characters. They're honestly really, really good. Like, they really fleshed those moments out well, and it actually keeps it from being just a dumb movie, like I said before. Like, they actually put effort into it, which I think can honestly just extend to the entire movie. This movie was really good. Like, it actually felt like someone tried here to make something different and something fun, and that's why I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. It's a little high, some people may think, but I had a blast with this movie. It checked every box I had and exceeded my expectations to every level. It was a lot of fun, our characters were great, the premise is great, what they do with the premise is also great closer to the end of the movie and throughout it. It's just a really fun time in general. Like, I really like this movie, and I really want to go see it again because it was a blast. Like I said, I want to see it again. But that's all I really have to say about Abigail. I definitely recommend this movie to anyone who's interested. If you have a different opinion than me, leave it in the comments below. I would love to read it. Did you love this movie? Did you hate this movie? But with that, if you like this video, you can like and subscribe down below for more content on the channel coming pretty damn soon. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. See ya.